Good day, we are Team JMU, and today we're going to share with you our webinar on 4E by 2 Instructional Model, a Constructivist approach. To start with, I am going to introduce the team. I am Araibo the Elumba. I'm a social studies teacher from the Philippines.
I am Fionah Nanungi, teaching biology and chemistry from Uganda.
My name is Raymond Kunzinle Yakubu. I'm a science teacher. I'm from Ghana.
I'm Deniss Nkya. I teach English. I'm from Tanzania.
As teachers coming from countries wherein every day we experience the dilemma of creating an effective and systematic teaching learning process in the classroom, our team decided to share with you an inquiry-based learning instructional model that will equip teachers on how to bring transformation in the classroom. This model was designed by Dr. Jeff C. Marshall of Clemson University, called 4E by 2 Instructional Model. This 4E by 2 model provides a model for learning that links strong conceptual understanding of content with inquiry learning experiences. The model integrates what we know and understand about inquiry-based teaching and learning with effective assessment and metacognitive reflection, which are constructivist in nature. Originally, this model is perceived to intensify and improve teaching in science and mathematics classroom. But at this point, we are also trying to contemplate of its utility in other subject areas, that this can also be used in teaching English, social studies, and other disciplines. So in this webinar, our objectives are the following: to understand 4E by 2 instructional model as a learning approach, and to consider the relevance of 4E by 2 instructional model as a learning approach in teaching different disciplines. Let us try to go back to our own classroom and reflect on the following questions. What does an ideal classroom look like? Is it giving teachers lots of work? Or is it having students run around the classroom? Or does it mean more work for the teacher? Let us try to observe this picture. Is it how we are supposed to be in our classroom? Or is it how it looks like to be an effective teacher? I think it is not. That is why, in this webinar, we are trying to walk you through the ideas of constructivist teaching using the 4E by 2 model, that learning occurs as learners are actively involved in a process of meaning and knowledge construction as opposed to passively receiving information. Learners are the makers of meaning and knowledge.
Hello, this is Raymond. As Bo has already indicated, the 4E by 2 instructional model is constructivist in nature. I just intend to give you a brief overview of the model as designed by Professor Marshall. It has three key components, which is the assessment phase, which on the screen is to the left. Then you have the inquiry-based learning aspect of it, on the screen, which has been split into 4 components. That is engage, explore, explain, and extend. To the right is the teacher reflective practice, which is also indicated with the arrow. It must be emphasized that at each step, that is in the inquiry-based learning, you must have in each step of the inquiry-based learning, we have the assessment aspect of it, which is largely formative, as well as the teacher reflection aspect, which is which enables the teacher to take prompt decision as to which direction instruction is heading to.
Hello, I'm Deniss, and I'm here to talk about the part of the model that concerns about engaging students. So, as you can see, the part of engaging is whereby students are actively involved in the instructional task, and also it allows for every student to be successful in completing the task, as well as uncovering and connecting to prior knowledge of the students. In this part, the teacher should act as a motivator. The teacher should also be there to create interest among students, tapping into what students know or think about the topic, and lastly, raising questions and encouraging responses from the students. And in this part also, students should be attentive in listening, asking questions, demonstrating interest in the lesson, as well as responding to the questions that are being asked by the teacher. On the other part of the model, where we find the exploring part, this part is where the purpose is to get students involved in the topic. Students have the opportunity to investigate the ideas, conceptions, or beliefs uncovered in the engaging part. It also allows them to begin to construct their own understandings. So in this particular activity, what does the teacher do? Actually, a teacher acts as a facilitator. Also, a teacher observes and listens to students as they interact. A teacher is also supposed to ask good inquiry-oriented questions that will enable students to think critically, and also provide time for students to think and reflect in their answers and their work. And lastly, in this part, a teacher should dare to be encouraging students to cooperate in their learning. And in the part of the students, the following should be the activities that should be done by the students, whereby they should be conducting activities, sharing their ideas upon the task that is being provided to them, recording their observations because they need to reflect at the end of the day, and then discussing tentative alternatives in solving the problems that they are there within to tackle. So that's in a nutshell about the engaging and exploring part.
Yes, I'm Fionah, and I'm going to take you through the last 2 stages of the inquiry-based phase. And I'll first go through the explain stage. At this stage, the learners are going to be explaining what they found out from the explore stage. They will develop an explanation for the concepts by using evidence and justification. It is at this stage that the learners have an opportunity to communicate what they have learned. They can communicate this through graphs and all other sources of presentations. And also, at this point, the teacher is not explaining, but the teacher is only reinforcing students' ideas and also trying to allow students to connect the new information to prior knowledge. It is at this stage that the teacher will directly confront students' misconceptions which were encountered in the engage and the explore stage. I'll take you through the extend, and at this point, the learners should be given an opportunity to connect what they have learned to new sets of conditions. Students are provided with all kinds of opportunities to apply their new knowledge in a meaningful and authentic context. Students will also deepen their understanding of what they have learned by connecting it to the real world. It should also be noted that, as Raymond had already told us, that at every stage we must come up with assessment, which is formative, and reflection. And I would also love to highlight at this point that the extend stage leads to engage, explore, and explain.
We'll recap on the 4E/2 instructional model. You have the formative assessment phase. We have the inquiry-based learning phase of it, which is divided into the 4 E's: engage, explore, explain, and extend. The teacher reflective phase is to the right, as seen on the screen. These are very critical in the learning of students. Each of these has been proven to be very effective in student academic achievement. So all three put together gives positive relation between in student achievement. We will now look at the benefits of the 4E/2 instructional model. It develops critical thinking skills of students. Students are actively engaged and more motivated because they are partaking in hands-on activities. It is aligned with authentic practices. Then the instructional decisions could be taken well in good time by the teacher rather than waiting till the end of the period. Students, because they are doing hands-on activity, they are able to connect what they learn in class with the real world and are very much aware of that connection. We'll look at some of the features or some considerations of the model. It is imperative that we allow the students to explore before they explain and not vice versa. Students contribute to the exploration phase. The reasoning and justifications are crucial in this. In this, right answers are really not the key. The teacher is interested in the thinking behind the answers. And as has already been mentioned, formative assessment is key at every level. The instruction is designed carefully and intentionally. Is this framework something the English teacher, the social studies teacher, and the liberal arts teacher can use? The answer is yes. It is not strictly for the science. It is such that every teacher can adapt it and use successfully in his or her class. Teachers' creativity is demanded here, they can adapt it to suit the demands of their class. So no teacher would feel that this doesn't work in my class. And the assurance is that the students will enjoy the class. Now, in conclusion, we want to state that, and we want to encourage teachers to adapt this model because it's a sure way of ensuring seeing students succeed. It puts less pressure on the teacher because students are keen on discovery of their own learning. We appreciate and we recognize the efforts, we recognize Professor Higdon of JMU and Professor Marshall, who is the originator of the model. To our fellows, we count on positive feedback from this presentation, and we hope that, as has always been the case, we will receive such feedback on OBA. Thank you.